All right, hey folks, what's going on? My name's Phil Kearney. I create role-play games. I illustrate them and I publish them online. And I'm going to be publishing an adventure for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition here in a couple of days. But we still have some maps that there's apparently a map that we still need to finish. So we're going to take a break from our regularly scheduled landscape painting, and we're going to invest time that I have to spend time on this to get it published, and it's literally the only thing that's keeping us from being published, so I need to spend time on it. So that's what we're going to be doing. So give me a hot second here. I am posting on social media the posts, that were live. So give me a hot second to finish that, and then we'll be able to get to work here. So click. I'm going to jump down to the bottom of the page here. I am done with my social media posts. So let's get that out of the way, and then we can fix our screen over here. Boop. Hey guys. Crystals and Bombards for characters levels 7 or 8, 4 8th level, 5 7th level characters. You're fighting undead demons and necromancers in the Carnwood of Karnath on the continent of Corvair. And let's see, this is the book cover that we created, and here's the map that we're working on today. We are I'll explain in a second, but if as a result of today you think this stuff is cool, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we're live in the future. And here's a bunch of other work that I've done on the DMsGuild already that are all free previews. Be welcome to take a look at them. They're full of my art and ideas. And I guess without further ado, we'll just dive into this. So this this is an underground dungeon complex, and there's a bunker door here that fills in this gap normally. But if you take these stairs up, it goes to the gatehouse here that overlooks this flooded tunnel. This is a tunnel flooded with water. And if the door opens, the water dumps out into the dungeon. So what we're doing is we're creating. This is what it normally looks like if the door were in place. The door's a separate icon, so we separate it from the actual map so that you can open and close the door if you want by adding and removing it from the map. But assuming that the door is there, this gets blocked off. If the door opens, then all the water in the tunnel starts flooding into the chamber. This door is closed. This door is closed, so there's nowhere for the water to go other than to drain through here. And it takes about 10 minutes for it all to swoop down through here, flood this area, and then drop down into this quagmire back in this grotto chamber. So if this door opens, this chamber floods, or if this door opens, this chamber floods. These doors connect. These doors are also closed. This door is open, so if this door gets open, it washes through here to here, into here, and then down here, and eventually pushes past these crates and just floods the whole area. By the time it hits the entire area, it's just damp footsteps. It doesn't have actually any volume. It's like 4 feet deep here, 1 foot deep here, and then 6 inches deep for all of this area. And then 3 inches deep for all of this area. And then beyond that area, it's just damp water. And then it just all eventually drains out into here, through here, and through here. There you go. So the water eventually just drains away. It's a momentary event. So what we want to do is create a separate sticker that we can overlay onto the map when it's published. This is flooded area 1, and then we'll have another one here that includes like here and here. It'll be flooded area 2, flooded area 1 and 3, flooded area 1, 2, and 4, area 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. So we have these stepping sequences of maps. And the less chambers that are flooded, the darker the water gets. So once area 1 and B get flooded, this transitions to a 75% opacity. And as it continues to dilute further from there, it drops to 50% opacity, and then down to 25% opacity, And then again, once it spreads to the entire dungeon, it essentially is just drained away. So that's what we're messing with right now. And this is the map that we're working with. We're going to continue working now. So I'm going to shut up and just start smudging this stuff together. And we'll be doing this. I'm going to do this morning. We were working on a landscape painting. We're going to get back to that ASAP. But literally, this map that we're messing with right now is literally the only thing that is keeping this adventure from being published. And when I was doing a final pass over the adventure, this just kept sticking in my craw. There's like, this is like the one thing that you didn't do. You could totally do this. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I could totally do this. So I'm totally doing this. And when it's done, we'll get back to our landscape painting. But we're also going to be doing some Spelljammer art. And then I'm going to be getting into some upcoming book covers. I think we're going to start with Spellpoint Artificer. And then probably build Spellpoint Sorcerer. And at that point, we should be working on the revisions of the color mana Spellpoint variant rules for 5e that are on the DMsGuild. Those are linked down below, and we'll be spending time on those. But I don't think I'm spending time on them tonight. I normally spend Mondays and Thursday nights as well as Saturday mornings on game design. But I don't think I'm going to be on stream tonight. Or if I am on stream, I'm going to be doing more of this, because this is literally my primary concern. And I thought I was at a point where all the stuff I was going to do was going to be off screen anyway, like processing image files and stuff. That's all done now. I got that done over the weekend. And now all we need to do is have this updated and include these in the zip file. There's over 300 maps, tokens, monster and terrain assets that are provided with this adventure. It's not only a complete adventure with unique maps, but it also deconstructs those maps into token components. So like there's a bunch of tree branch and tree trunk structures, as well as tree canopies that are in their own little tokens. So you can tile and build forests together by just grabbing some of these tokens, dumping them onto the virtual tabletop, or by cutting them out and printing them and then scattering them on the table. But there's tree trunks, and then there's the canopy that goes on top of the tree trunk and all the branches. So you have a treetop that you're looking at in a forest, and when you lift it off, then you see the trunk and the branches where things could hang out, like creatures dropping on you to ambush you and shit like that. So there's a ton of assets in this thing. And God, I'm really looking forward to getting that published. But then as soon as this gets published, I get to start building other tools, updating the color mana system, building out or starting to do layouts and design for the martial power system, the Bastion campaign system. We're going to playtest the Bastion campaign a little bit in my Saturday morning game stream that I have, or game group game that I have down on my Discord channel. We're going to in the second week of April will be. I hope to have session 0 for the Spelljammer Mecha Kaiju Eberron campaign that I've been constructing online. I've been streaming on Mondays and Thursday nights. I've been bouncing between the martial power system, the color mana Spellpoint variant rules, the Bastion campaign mechanics of as a supplement for DMs to use as a campaign tool, and then also designing a Bastion campaign around Spelljammer and Eberron. So we'll be getting back to all that content here in short order, but this really is, I've been working on this adventure literally for 4 years. And, 5 years. We conceptualized it in 2021. I started playtesting somewhere near 2022. Took a break in 2024 to build the Spelljammer book. And all throughout 2025. And, 5 years. We just lapped 5 years because it was January 2021 that we started doing this. So it was almost 4 years, fell into 5. But yeah, we're doing this. You can see here. This is how we represent water. It has like this flow, but liquidity to it. Further back here, there's a smokiness. There's this smokiness that drifts atop the water, as the poison, as the necrotic energies of the plane of Mabar interact with the rainfall that's flooding this tunnel. The necrotic effects of Mabar start to rot away at the fabric of the water, so it gets this oily, disgusting ooze sort of feel to it. And then it releases this toxin that's poisonous to breathe, causes sickness that reduces your action economy. Just blending this all in, letting the water flow. That's some smooth jazz, man. These things are... I'm really happy, honestly, that I had an opportunity to come back and revisit this before it publishes, because this shit is just so zen. These map components are so fun to just blend. It's just, I'm just sitting here and I'm just smudging around with my smudge tool here in Photoshop and just blending this stuff together to make it just feel a little more organic. I just love doing this type of stuff. Go. I want to blend this out so it flows together. I need to this doesn't feel liquidy enough, so I need to push this around into a more organic shape. Just smoothing out all of these lines just to make them look real, like oil, like oil sliding on over water. That's literally what we're dealing with here. There we go. And I might layer this. You can see like we have layers over each other here. Like you have a really thin layer like here that's flowing through like that, and then you have this over it, so it's 2 layers. That's what helps make add depth and make it feel a little more oily by stacking layers like this. You can see how long this takes to smooth out all the pixels, not only into a natural gradient, but also to help reduce the roughness of the curves, to help smooth them out so they feel more liquidy than chunky. That's a lot of what this smoothing process is just making the water feel more liquid, like to reduce the path of resistance from one flow into the next. These little bubbles that crop up. There we go. And I don't need to be a perfectionist on this. just needs to look good because we're going to have that smokiness that comes in over this as well. So there's going to be a little bit of obscurement. So it really doesn't have to be. It really doesn't have to be perfect. Slow makes smooth. Smooth makes fast. There we go. That'll be good enough. And then let's move on to here and smooth this all out. I need to get rid of that little bubble, that little square bubble in there wasn't going to work for this water. Man, it felt so good this weekend getting those assets all completed. They all snapped to grid so perfectly. I am just, I love how crisp these assets are. The virtual tabletop on Roll20, which is where I primarily run games and is owned by DTRPG, which or One Bookshelf, which owns DMsGuild. So if I'm going to publish on DMsGuild, wouldn't it make sense to make sure everything calibrated properly to the Roll20 game and the Roll20 virtual tabletop we have online? So this all snaps perfectly to grid for virtual tabletop. I am so thrilled of how well these assets have come together. It's just, I'm really looking forward to getting this thing published. Just as soon as we finish this, this page, but we have to do this block and we have to do this one, and this one's like 3 times the size as this one, and this one is about the same size as this one, and then all of this mass is a hawking mess. But after this point, after this, after this bit here, I don't need to do that. I don't need to do this bit. But that's essentially we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces to go, and so I'm just trying to knock them down best I can. This is going to be 1 stack here, and then we're going to build another. We're going to build stacks adjacent to it here in just a few minutes once I get this all smoothed out. And good morning, everybody. I do artwork or cartography or whenever I need to, whatever visual assets I need to produce. Generally, I do the creative aspect of that asset production here on stream Mondays through Fridays in the morning. Like we'll be doing MTG, Magic the Gathering artwork for the Color Mana system. Once we're back into production for that, we'll be doing artwork for the Bastion campaign. We'll be doing art for the Mecha Kaiju campaign mechanics. We'll be doing Spellpoint Sorcerer. We'll be doing a specific we'll be doing a specific standalone product for that, kind of like Knights and Tricksters was. So we're doing a lot of them. Hey, what's going on, Fernando? But yeah, this last map asset here, this is something that I needed when I was looking to when I was finalizing all the things to tie together for finalizing the document and publishing it over the weekend. My brain was like, just take a moment and take a look at this. And when I did, I'm like, God damn it, yeah, I need to. This is like literally a sticker that if I go down here and I go to I don't need that. Windows, scroll down to tools, grab our square. This is the size of the sticker, roughly the size of the sticker. So when this map is a standalone JPEG, but then this layer here is a transparency, so that when, if this was properly sized, whatever. Anyway, the sticker here, all this space out here, that's just blank space. So this is a PNG file, which Roll20 in most virtual tabletop use to allow for transparent images, or like a sticker to overlay this portion of the dungeon. So we have there, and then we're going to pause here. We're going to go room 1. And then we're going to create a new group. We're going to call it room 2. Or rather, technically it's room 3. It's technically what it is. So let's come back over here. What's up? Man, my weekend was fantastic. I got a lot of production done. I'm really happy with where we're at. The adventure is almost fucking published. Just ran into... here, I need to fill this in. Because this is where the door's at. You know what? No, hold on. That's correct. That's correct. What is going on? Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Here. Overlayer. Nah. Come on, buddy. Don't hyper-focus. I don't need to hyper-focus on this. I just need... the more I zoom in, the more errors I find. The more I want to course correct. This path I'm on here leads to madness. Because going over the entire document in finer detail basically quadruples the space that I just treated. But that's the way to do it. You scale in, scale in, scale in to the point of resolution where you're happy with how the piece is at, and then you leave it be. This is my objective, Kearney. Right down here. This is what I'm supposed to be focusing on. Let's do that. And then maybe I'll come back and whinge at that another smidge. Oh, that rabbit hole is deep. Switch to a smooth cloud texture brush. There we go. That feels pretty good. I'm hating myself at the moment, but I absolutely have to work on this. Muse is insisting that I straighten this stuff out. There we go. I'm gonna take a sip of water. I'm thirsty. Oh, man. Nothing tastes good like water when you're thirsty, man. It just, the purity of it is so quenching. Literally the purpose of water there, Kearney. But just the sensation of it, it's just, oh, it's amazing. that in. Yeah, I don't have to do too much here. I can just smooth out some of the rougher edges and then be content. So yeah, we're gonna spend a little bit more time here. So I'm doing the water in these separate layers, but when we fog over the entire thing, we'll just do just a large scale blur, a large blending at a very coarse level, and then separate that into its individual rooms, and then merge that into the water, and then start peeling apart the layers into separate stickers that you then stack on to create the effects. But yeah, I was doing some asset testing in virtual tabletop over the weekend when I was completing these assets, and just everything curved together just toot sweet, perfectly. There we go. Much more delicate now, much more organically curving into each other. I could zoom in again to a more fine level of detail and smooth that out as well, but I honestly think this is as deep as I need to get. We're at what? We're roughly 110% zoomed in. I don't know, man. Maybe we'll work on martial powers tonight anyway. I think I will. I think we've been working on the martial powers series of doing a final editing pass over a last mechanical editing pass over the martial power system in class and subclass designs, and all of that is coming together really, really sweetly. So I think tonight is the last night I need to go over those revisions. We'll finish up that series and then start building out individual class pages and build a format for the PDF, and then find the gaps in the page, and then insert illustrations into them here in the mornings. So we'll finish up the landscape map that we've been doing the past week or two at this point, the last 2 weeks. And I was originally playing with the idea of like having a dragon like skimming the river, but I remember when we were originally building that map, that illustration, I was talking about potentially turning that into a dungeon map, using the painting of the landscape to be different points where you can zoom in, like with a map. Like here's if we create the temple complex in the mountain like we were talking about, we can use different portions of the mountain for like a gatehouse, a temple proper, like a sanctum, different areas throughout the landscape piece that can be different points of interest that we could then add adventure detail notes to make like a 1 room or like a 2 room or 3 room dungeon sort of thing, using the map as the point of interest. So you can say, hey, or the landscape painting as the point of interest, and say, hey, here you go, take it out, and now you can zoom in on these portions here. We won't be getting to that right away, but I like the idea of doing that. So I don't think I need to focus on making a dragon. So it's like 2 or 3 more days, and we'll be done with the landscape map, and then we'll get to work on new book covers and stuff like that. I really, really am excited about the Adventures of Faerun supplement that came out that has circle magic in it. Circle magic is what I was looking for with the amplified spell system in the Spelljammer book that we published. What I was really looking to do was something that, honestly, the circle system, which is spend extra spell slots and you can amplify the effects of a spell, kind of like 3rd edition meta magic, but not actual meta magic, a little bit different. Oh, that's right. There's a little wibble in here. You gotta respect the wibble. Right. So I want to revise the spell casting chapter of the Spelljammer book. But that's going to be one of the many, many smaller projects that we're going to be taking on here throughout the course of the rest of 2026. Go. Almost there. Stay on target. Once we get to the other room, we'll start in on the other room. This feels pretty good. I'm liking these gradients. The curves feel pretty organic. It's not too sloppy. We're about to hit good enough levels of quality. Oh, and boy, oh boy, the Saturday session we had on my stream, the martial powers, the Strixhaven Mage Tower mechanics that we've been playtesting and using, basically creating rugby for 5e combat action economy as a PvP instead of killing. You can kill each other, but the point of the sport is to score the most points by scoring the most goals. But you can get there by beating each other up and stopping them from allowing you to score goals while you are healing. But we had 5 players. So we had 3v3 teams, and I got to, and then I basically, there's one team of 2, and then one team of 3 players, and then instead of any kind of quote-unquote DMing, I was just a player. So you don't actually have to have a DM to run Mage Tower as a PvP combat system, so everyone can be a player competing as athletes, working together to try to score points on a goal. And we're playing this weekend. We were at level 16. We're going to run a game at level 18, and it was fun. It was tactically challenging, debating between like combat damaging each other or using your action economy to try to outmaneuver each other to score a goal. It was super fun. And breaking down the action economy of 5e to interpret the movements and actions of throwing a ball as a goal, as an attack roll, and then using reactions to act as a goalie to deflect or catch or reduce the damage down to 0 so that you're effectively catching the ball. You can't score a goal unless you hit the goal post, armor class 10, and deal at least 1 point of damage to it. But there's so many things in the mana system that you can do to prevent attacks or to remove any damage, prevent any damage from happening to a target, that it's actually a fun strategy. As the combat becomes a puzzle. How can we score more points than our enemy within this time frame? And it's super fun. It's a super fun game system. I'm really, really proud of it. So we'll eventually be going to market with that. Hey, what's up? It really is. It's just a sport though. It's it's like there's no plot to it or anything. What was it? It was Rick and Morty said the sports is the opposite of story, because sports are literally just the facts of what happened. You can embellish what those facts are, but you're not making up narrative about the sport. Oh, sorry. Sports is the opposite of narrative. That was the word, because you're not actually narrating anything that's happening. You're just reporting the events of play by play what happened in the sport. It's whatever story you come up with is your narrative. I guess it's not the opposite of narrative. I'm probably misquoting that, because I'm having a hard time getting around the words. But yeah, there's no story that you need to propel as a DM. Like, there's no twists or hidden reveals or anything, or like there's not a map that you don't see what's in the next room. So you don't need a DM. Once the rules of the game are established, if there happens to be any crazy gray area, if it's necessary, we can stop and debate it. But we make a ruling, and then we can debate those rules and then integrate them. We're doing playtesting to get as many of those rules figured out before we send it off, for publication. But I'm not going. It's not actually Mage Tower. It's based off of Strixhaven's Mage Tower, but it's not actually Mage Tower. It's actually rugby or soccer / football. We're calling it Mage Tower because Strixhaven is fun, but I'm going to. That's going to be a DTRP. That's going to be a generic Creative Commons project for 5e. Not specifically tied to any campaign setting. Doesn't have anything to do with campaign at all. It's just alternate PvP combat options. So we'll publish that as a DTRPG book, and I'll publish it on my Patreon. Since I have since it's not going to be DMsGuild, I can publish it anywhere I want. So we're going to build that book out eventually as a non-DMsGuild product. Probably the first non-DMsGuild product that we publish. There we go. Apparently I digress. Oh, good. That looks really good. I'm really happy with that. So let's zoom back in a little bit. Just smooth out over here. I just need to, that's too sharp. I just need to thin it down a little bit. Let's grab our guitar pick. Just really good at smudging stuff. Damn it. Go. Put that together. Let's dull that tip a little bit. Go. almost there. Sorry, I'm going backwards now. You're moving away from room 3, Phil. What are you doing? Sorry. Let me push my way back. Here we go. Go back to where we're supposed to be. I need to be up in here to blend this stuff out. There we go. Very good. Now in here, straighten this out a little bit. Yeah, this is where we need to be. I'm not talking again. Yeah, we found out this weekend that suggestion and mass suggestion specifically. Suggestion itself isn't so bad because it requires concentration, and it's pretty easy to knock people out of concentration with this game system that we built. So I think suggestion can stand, but mass suggestion has a 24-hour duration. That's not good. So we're going to have to get rid of mass suggestion. I think we can get by keeping suggestion. But it's picky because suggestion doesn't allow you to hurt your friends or like your allies in combat or allow your friends to get hurt in combat, basically. But your ally, the goalpost is treated as an ally. For purposes of spells and stuff like that. So in this instance, like you can't suggest somebody to let me score a goal because you'll be allowing somebody to damage your friend, and you can't. Suggestion won't allow your friends to be attacked. So it's a little clumsy, and it's probably worth just banning both the lesser and the greater versions of it. Hey, suggestion scales better than that. Yeah, it really does. So it could be allowed, but if we really wanted to keep things simple, then no suggestion. That would, like friends, for instance, like to make them like you don't need to change somebody from hostile to neutral. There's no NPCs. Like friends and charm person aren't really are mechanically irrelevant mechanics because both of those spells are designed to mechanically shift the disposition of NPCs and monsters in your game. And when everyone's a PC, affecting monsters doesn't matter. It's like those spells could be cast, but they're also largely irrelevant. So, but suggestion directly impacts characters, like what they're capable of doing. So, like, they have to do this thing, which becomes a fun constraint that you have to overcome during the PvP, but doesn't basically take your character completely out of the game, because you can make saving throws. You can make repeat saving throws every round to end the effect, but mass suggestion doesn't allow that. And mass suggestion allows you to target multiple targets, as opposed, I believe the lesser version of just suggestion, I believe that one allows you to increase the duration of when the suggestion will be executed, not the number of. Oh no, if you upcast, it does increase the number of targets that you can hit. But it's different from mass suggestion because it has a duration, it requires concentration, save your way out of it. It's just a much more manageable and reasonable spell. It's also only 2nd level, so it's a big fucking stinger with that low level of action economy. So we're still considering whether to keep it in the game or not. So I think we're going to monkey around with it a little bit more in the next few sessions to see if we can get that to click. And then what will happen is once we get the Spelljammer game up and running, On Saturdays, if we don't have at least 3 players, I don't run a campaign, and because I like to have at least 3 people there to keep the energy moving and to like not have any theoretical ties about what we want. Like if you only have 2 players, if you have 1 player, campaigns move too fast and no one else is in on it. If you're supposed to have like 4 players and only 2 of them are there, half the audience is missing the show. So let's pause the show. If you have 3 or 4 players, good to go. We're good to go. So in the inevitable circumstances where we have only 2 players show up to play, instead of running the campaign, we can just shift gears and play a session of. We can just throw the ball around with Mage Tower. So now we don't have any reason to ever cancel the game, because just depending on how many people shows up, we'll determine what are we going to do. We're going to do some PvP, or are we going to advance the campaign? I'm mincing on these details again. I've backslid again, back to the very beginning. I do that. It's hard to keep a timeline when I'm so loosey-goosey with my action economy here. I hope that's not obnoxious. It feels unprofessional to not be able to have much control over my time of production. It feels like a weakness, but at the same time, I love doing this stuff, and I shouldn't be so pressured about deadlines. I'm so ready for this baby to be birthed. Get this thing out of me. It is ready to go. Except for this one stupid thing that I'm mincing details on here. How important is this gradient, son? Smooth it out. Move along. Kearney? Text, what's up? Hey, Rob. Holy ham! Robert Doyle, what is going on, my dude? Preaching to the choir, but man, all creatives know they're at pain. Right on, man. Dude, okay, so Robert Doyle created, with Twin Steel, super cool journeys concept for D&D 5e, where you deal damage to a journey to complete the journey from point A to point B. A number of obstacles and challenges arrive that when you take actions to resolve them, you're doing ability checks or some sort of like D20 test to contribute to the success of the journey, and then you roll damage dice related to the thing that you do. And I had the great opportunity to participate in creating some Underdark journeys, and hopefully there's going to be space on the pages for me to drop some artwork into. Hint, hint. I would very much love to have. I don't know if the space is actually there in the text that I contributed to the project, but if there is, I would be most happy to grab the PDF of those pages, drop them here into Photoshop, and then build the illustration on the to fit the page of art that it would go into. And Robert, I know that you are the one that is overseeing those page layouts, so no pressure, no need to answer right now. But if there is the ability to have illustration dropped in, I would be very, very happy to fill in the white space of those pages. It's a 2-page spread that I did, and man, I fucking love working on that project. It was short and sweet, but super fun. It's really changing the way that I'm thinking about introducing a narrative element to adventure instead of having structured encounters. The point value of like fatiguing the journey when it runs out of hit points, you've defeated the journey, meaning that you arrive at your destination. I like that as a that like really fits in nicely to the point crawl concept of overland movement, instead of like raw hex crawling where every step that you take is going to lead to adventure in another direction, and you link those events to They're location-based events. When I step into this hex tile, these events begin unfolding. This is more along the line between A and B. Either nothing could happen or some things could happen. So this journeys concept gives it a hit point pool, and when your team collectively can eliminate all the hit points by defeating the challenge, you arrive at your destination. You can move on, and it can work with not only moving from A to B, but it can also work with like negotiations. Like MCDM's Draw Steel had some hoopla about creating this this diplomacy system. I think with very little effort, the journey system could be converted into a diplomacy system where you're walking into an encounter with objectives that you're trying to achieve in the negotiation. And depending on how your ability checks go in that conversation, you're going to deal damage to the conversation. And when the conversation runs out of hit points, you've gotten what you wanted out of that conversation. I've actually ran diplomacy dungeons before, where it was a thought map of like, I know there's these different rooms. Like I would lay out like, here's your entrance into the conversation, and here's a few different rooms in the dungeon where like if you get to this point, now we're talking about hostage, like releasing hostages. If we get to this point in the room, we're talking about like what do we need to give the terrorists to be able to open that up. And anytime that you're making rolls, you can spring tracks and moving from one area or another in the dungeon that then pushes you back to other areas that you now have to renegotiate points because you broke trust or something. Journeys could be very easily structured that way without needing to actually like map out the conversation, as it were. It becomes the conversation becomes a journey. You know what I'm talking about? Scope creep is just the force, but it's time to get this book out into the world. I'm just saying that if you wanted to dive into that topic in the future, like I personally will probably be using this mechanic to develop diplomacy conversations in the future, because I have a diplomacy team in one of my Eberron Bastion campaigns that I run. So when they want to negotiate with other guilds or they have to like negotiate with pirates and shit, they'll use these characters that are specialized in doing negotiations to make that their one-shot adventure for the day. So, the journeys concept is such a great way of reinterpreting exploration into combat. I love those kind of mechanics. I love the three pillars that D&D has of combat, exploration, and social interaction, or I guess interaction. Anyway, whatever. I love taking one thing in one gear and making it work in a different gear. That's a fun way of translating game engines into world experiences inside of an RPG. And once you understand those three different gears that are excellent, they're really well exemplified in 5e, the difference between social exploration and combat gears of play. You can shift the different priorities between each other. Like in a game where combat's not important, you make that a social encounter where you can just resolve it without conflict. But if that game is about like boyfriend-girlfriend stuff in high school, social interactions become like, if you have to like deal with Becky again, that becomes social combat with hit point pools. If she drains you down to 0, you are humiliated. And you're taking like these degrees of exhaustion of having to deal with her, and now everything that you try to do is tainted because everyone's making fun of you. God damn it, Becky, leave me alone. You have to figure out how to defeat Becky. But this is non-lethal combat, kind of like the rugby system that we've been running on my Discord to play rugby as a 5e combat sport, a PvP. It's like these are different gears of play that you can express the world in. And having said all that, I'm really happy with where this is at right now. I'm going to let that sit, and I'm going to shift into the next room. We're going to flood that room. So let's get to work on that. I'm going to actually switch to my square brush. Square brushes are so useful. Robert, I appreciate you swinging by, my dude. So I do artwork Monday through Fridays like this, and then I do on Mondays and Thursday nights we do game design. For those in the future, this is a Monday that I'm yarbling about, so we'll probably... at this point, I've convinced myself to continue working on the martial powers mechanics, because that's literally what we use for marshals when they're playing rugby in PvP. And it's part of the color mana spell point variant rule system that I've developed. It gives marshals a mana pool. So like your barbarian has a mana pool that they can like buy extra rages for, or like while they're raging they can amplify the effect by spending X mana to do Y things. It's God, we've been playtesting that on my Discord for like 2 years now, and it's super fucking solid. God, it's such a cool system. So we'll be going to fill in along this edge here. There we go. There, and fill that in. By God, I am hungry. I am so fucking hungry this morning. What is up with that? Let's just fill in there, and then just get rid of the lines. There. Black canvas! Oh, I got a little gap down here. Wow! Black canvas! Sorry, some Kiss rendition there for you guys. For the Kiss fans out there. Kiss Army, yeah! When was the last time Kiss was relevant? Jesus Christ, like the 80s? Kiss. Hell yeah, sequel, baby. There. Okay, great. Let's see. That looks good. That's I got a 20-minute timer that goes off. It is, it's 7:30 here in the real world, so I've got 20 minutes left this morning. We're going to do some martial powers tonight, and then I'm going to spend the rest of the night off stream continuing to do this, so when we come back tomorrow, I'll probably still have more to go. But damn, this thing could be published as soon as Thursday, honestly. Okay, so the way this is going to work is this is a separate layer from this, but I can overlap this layer over this to help create a more smooth transition. So we're going to start with our blue. I'm going to come back over here and use this as a color reference for a place to start. We always use a round brush. So I'm just going to glug this in here like that, and then here, and then here. It starts to eddy out and dead end, so I want to make these little ripple effects around in here. And then if we open the doors, we can dump across here, and then dump across here, and dump out here. Anyway, it's a process. Man, I love Flash. Flash Gordon was the first movie that I ever chose to go see at 6 years old. Philip, what would you like to do? I want to see Flash Gordon, Mommy. Okay, let's all go see Flash Gordon. So our family went to see Flash Gordon. Holy crap, I loved Flash Gordon as a kid. That was awesome. And there was the Flash Gordon cartoon that was in syndication. I think it was on ABC on Saturday mornings, like at 8 o'clock. And they didn't play them in order. It was like episode 26. And then next time, like episode 89. I'm like, what are you doing? It's like, I don't even remember what episodes I've seen, but I would watch it religiously every Saturday. It was so funny. Like the idea of serial TV, it was so nasty. It was, God, they did us so bad. I can't believe they bothered to making a serial cartoon and then playing them out of order. It was like, what are you doing? Honestly, I've never gone back and rewatched the Flash Gordon cartoons. I never see anything mentioned about them. I'm actually really compelled now to go check that out again. It's been so long. I don't even know where I'd fucking stream that, or I don't want to buy them. God, no, I don't want to buy them. But if they're streaming somewhere, I'd subscribe to that channel for a couple clicks. Anyway, that stuff I was, and the D&D cartoon came around in the early 80s. Like, I was just primed to become an RPG fanatic, just basically from jump. God, I love doing this stuff. It's so fun. I'm gonna take it up real. Oops. Oh shit. I'm on the same layer. God damn it, Kearney. You fucked up, son. All right. Well, we can minimize the damage. I'm gonna paint over these. I didn't separate into the new layer. I do that sometimes. I'm a goddamn amateur. So we'll fix it by just getting rid of that, and getting rid of that, and getting rid of this, and we'll just resolve this, and then we'll just paint over it. We're gonna paint in layers anyway. This is just a little out of order. But yeah, it's super fun making assets. I work at 100 DPI, so if we zoom in here, you can see that these lines are 2 pixels wide. So if instead I go to the edge here and say this is 100 pixels that you see on screen, you can see that the outer rim is only 1 pixel wide. So when you tile these squares together in a virtual tabletop, each tile start, like you can see here, like we're starting here, and like here's the right edge of this tile, so you can see this 1 pixel wide line. And then on the next square over, we again have a 1 pixel wide line that's the same color. That becomes our grid squares. But when we're in the virtual tabletop, it's 70 DPI. And it's not a 1 pixel wide line in the 70 DPI virtual tabletop. So it's really tricky to align your map with the grid in the virtual tabletop. So when we make this 100 DPI here in Photoshop, when I save it, I reduce it to 70 DPI, and that reduces the width of this line not to 2 pixels. It reduces it down to about like 145, 1.45 pixels wide, which is the exact size of the line in the virtual tabletop, like on Roll20 and most other VTTs. So when we once we finalize this down to the actual publication 70 DPI, it snaps to grid perfectly, and there's no misalignment. So when I'm building these things, I'm always building it at 100 DPI with 1 pixel wide lines surrounding that square. And then on a separate layer, we fill in the square, and that's what creates the maps that we build here in Photoshop. So it's a bit of a, it's a painterly process, so it certainly takes its time. But, my God, I love the process. And it's so satisfying when you, like, all the tokens are 70 DPI, so they just snap to grid, right? It's so satisfying. And this is the first adventure that I've actually published. So it's a big milestone for Philbo here. But Rob, man, it was so fun playing Super Atomic with you a couple weeks ago. Super Atomic is it's AJ Pickett's invention, and Wally DM and Fred Wheeler from How to D&D, How to RPG is run games of Super Atomic, and Rob and I are on the roster of available players to live stream the game, and it's such a narratively light system. It's mostly just bullshitting each other with dice rolls, and it's just a very beer and popcorn kind of game. Super easy to flow with, and it's fun. It's so I'm a tactical, crunchy, mechanical kind of guy. Which is why I love 3E and 5E so much. It's tactile. There's a lot of moving parts that you can mess around with in your character, but it's good to be able to cleanse your palate occasionally with like a super system-like narrative game. And Super Atomic is basically superheroes boiled down to different types of coin tosses. It's legitimately very fun. I've posted stream of those. If you've caught them before, you'll know what I mean. But if you haven't, check those out. They're I have those posted on my Discord channel, as well as on my social medias. Smoothing this all out around this corner here. Lighten that up. There we go. I just want to. I'm blending this in because it's like this ridge here is like bubbling up from underneath. That's the idea. So because I do two layers on these. I do like this warbly fade layer here that we got going on is underneath this lighter colored layer of slick that goes. So it has like this oily slickness to it. Very fun. It takes a while for me to do it. But it's just the end result is really worth. I really, really love how this aesthetic is. But yeah, we'll continue working on the martial power system tonight on stream. After I get back from my day job, I will log back on and we'll finish auditing the list of martial powers that currently exists. And we found a way of like suggestion and fear are so problematic hitting athletes when you're playing rugby like this. We've evolved some of the there's a martial power exploit that lets you trigger reactions in people as well as yourself to be able to try to break free of grapple effects. Basically, during my turn, I can let you use a reaction to break free of a grapple. And that was super niche. So we expanded out to break free of grapples, charms, and frightened conditions. So now it becomes a high utility thing that just gets you out of losing action economy. And it triggers a saving throw or ability check depending on what you're trying to get out of. But that's something that we stumbled into during playtesting on Saturday, and it made a ton of sense, and it scratched an itch that we didn't quite know how to reach yet. So I gotta say, man, we've been cooking this system for 2 years, and it's getting really, really good. We're just finding little niche circumstances as like that has a feel bad moment. What can we do to iron that out? And we're finding solutions to all this stuff. It's going to be so fucking sick when it publishes. But that's going to be a while because we've got to do all the artwork for it. We've got to do the page layouts and want to get the editor involved to clean up the language for it. It's going to be a process, but that's what we do here on this channel. We design, illustrate, and publish RPGs. So we'll get through it all eventually here, and hopefully folks enjoy it. The fun thing about mechanics is you can't copyright mechanics. You can just copyright the language that expresses them. So we can build out the martial power system on the DMsGuild for use with the color mana system, and then take the stuff that we find to be incredibly useful from that, and then extract it, rename things, and then drop them into the athletes, the 5e rugby combat PvP mechanics, and retranslate everything away from you're a student of Strixhaven into you're just a rugby athlete. That's all this game is. Using the 5.5 SRD, like Blood Bowl or whatever. We'll just call it fantasy rugby, basically. And then take all these rules that we can express as MTG stuff on DMsGuild, and then like like if we were to have like a specialized rugby match, then basically all the full casters become warlocks, and the warlock pact system of short rest mana uses all the martial power mechanics, and then the Mystic Arcanum that the Warlock gets at level 11 plus works as normal. So, and then you could, like, if you want to include this as something in your normal fantasy game, here's how Bard and Druid and blah 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 all work, and then there you go. So it's a separate rule set. So we could potentially kickstart that. So we'll build out the martial powers system first, and then we'll extract what we like from, because by the time we get martial powers and the 5.5e game system done, we'll be able to start extracting from that with the Creative Commons SRD. We'll extract something that's system neutral, that uses completely different language, retranslate the mana system into just like athlete points or whatever, athletics. And put all the characters, instead of being on color mana, all the characters will be using athlete points to pay for their athletic stunts. You see how we can just translate that stuff? We can just like reword it and the mechanics become valid. We just have to reword what the mechanics are. And since the only thing, like, you know, you're attacking with the ball, so we can translate that all in. It's gonna work. It's gonna work. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. This is coming along nicely. This is all smoothing out. Murph. Come on, Kearney. I'm running out of time. I can sense it. I'm down to a few minutes. Yeah, I got like 5 minutes left. There we go. Like, if this door is closed, then I want this to be a closed system here. But once that door opens, it can flow across. And each door that opens, we're making the map sticker bigger and bigger. So we're going to actually incorporate like this here are separate stickers right now. But when we actually build this thing out, it's going to be like this. Like, this is that sticker. So it expands in size. We're just breaking them up into separate segments right now to like keep them separated. Yeah, see, that's a good looking oil slick. That feels really nice. So we'll take that, and now we're going to layer over that. Grab some of this. No, that's not how I want to do that. Let's do it like, yeah, let's do it like this. Wrong button. That feels better. Delete that. I want another like a wave pushing in like this, and then it pans out like around like this. No, more like this. Okay, that feels pretty good. So let's start smudging this out. We have this cool layering effect going on. So we're damn near out of time. We'll be back. We'll be back in about probably about 10 hours. Yeah, we'll be back in about 10 hours, and we'll finish up auditing and updating the martial power list for 5e, and then I'll drop off screen. I'll continue working on this on my own off screen so that when we come back tomorrow, we'll have we'll keep moving forward. So, and then once we get this piece, like, this is literally the only thing that's keeping us from publishing this adventure. So super close to being done. Disgustingly, ridiculously done. The PDF is literally done. It's ready to go. But this is part of the asset packet. There's like over 300 maps, tokens, and player handouts that are included with this adventure. fucking 300. Like there's like 20 different types of pine trees and like 20 different types of deciduous trees. Both a token for the trunk and the branches that you can lay on the. We have a forest floor map that doesn't have anything on it that we built. It's like a 40 by 40 forest floor map. Then like rocks and hedges and fallen logs are all separate tokens that you can cascade together, like to make these little chains. Like on this map here, like you can see these little colonies of glowing fungus that are floating along here. These are separate tokens that we made. So these tokens are included in the map assets. So like if you wanted to build your own like submerged Mabaran grottos, we give you all the tools that you need to build them so you can just spontaneously add maps to your adventure if you have a random encounter crop up that you want to have with a unique map space. You can do that. We provide all these things for you. Anyway, it's fun. I'm down to about a minute. So I'm just gonna shut up and dance like a monkey here. Perform my pixel pushing until the good clock takes me away. I love layering all this water over each other. It's so fun. To build these things out like this. And again, this portion over here is now a part of this, but we're keeping them in separate layers. But as another door opens, if another door opens, we'd have a larger footprint for where the water is sloshing down. Again, it starts in this tunnel over here, and there's a massive bunker door, but the team can go up these stairs into the gatehouse and use the mechanism over here to open this door. And if they do, the consequence of that is changes the features of the dungeon and pours this water all throughout here. If that door stays closed, this is like one of the areas you can descend down to from the surface to get into this dungeon. You could also take this tunnel down if you wanted to, which is horrible. And there's a secret passage over here that you can find as well. And depending on which path you take, is going to change what options you choose on how you're encountering the different denizens that are in this dungeon space. Anyway, blah blah blah. That was my alarm. My alarm just popped. I'm supposed to be logging out. The muse is not letting me go. She wants me to mince on this just a little bit longer, and I am inclined to agree with her. So we're going to do a little bit of this. And blend this out here. Yeah, we can get away with that. There we go. I so much love doing artwork like this. And it's amazing that the internet came around and was capable. The biggest problem artists have is loneliness. Like, because I'm pinned to this easel, and I'm pushing pixels for hundreds of hours to create this adventure, thousands potentially. I'm creating the assets for this adventure, and what am I going to do? Like at the end of it, like put out like 15 tweets, and then that bookmarks the end of like a 5-year portion of my life. Like that's so underwhelming. That it feels wrong. But being able to be in this space and to be able to paint and to communicate with you guys and just to kick with the crowd, it's such an explosion of just such a massive paradigm shift for artists to be able to jump online and not only simultaneously be able to simultaneously prove that I'm actually creating this art. It's not AI. Not that anyone would think my art is AI. But, it's authentic. I'm not, this is the reference. Like, I show you everything. The references that I'm using, the processes that I use, the mistakes that I make, the solutions that I find to problems that come up. We do all that stuff here. And it's, but in the years of past, I would have had to have done all this stuff all alone by myself for literally, in this case, years of building these things. And not to be able to share any of it or or like dive into the head process. Like, where am I at, like, as an artist while I'm doing these things? Like, what's the internals that are going on? I get to play with, I get to share all that shit with you guys now, because I can stream while I'm doing the art, and at the end of it, you guys can have it. So, I think ultimately this could translate if I can somehow figure out how to build my audience correctly, because God knows I haven't invested the time I need to do that. But if I could end up at a place where I could legitimately build a cool thing, like have a really, really cool special environment here for people. I'm hoping that's what this all leads to. Oh God, that looks so good. All right, so when we pick it up, we'll continue smudging this stuff out, and then we'll extend out here into the hallways and down into this room. And I'm going to hit save for now. I got to get out of here. I got to go to my day job, guys. Yeah, the whole GM Table Squad really is a lot of fun. I don't know how I ended up stumbling into that group, but God, I love it. It's just so fun to kick around with them. All right, that's it, guys. I'm going to be out of here. I'll be back tonight to continue working on martial powers. We'll be back tomorrow morning to continue working on this. When this is done, we publish. So we are just a few days away from being published. I will be shouting from the rooftops when we do. But for now, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks a lot.